The Big Bang Theory's finale aired on May 16, 2019, 4 years after the finale of Parks and Recreation, and I believe that there was a lot they could have and should have learned from the finale of Parks and Recreation. Before I get into that, please remember to like and subscribe and follow DM Reviews on Twitter. Link should be in the description. Also, comment what movie or TV show you would like us to review next. Also, spoilers for both shows if you haven't seen them. When you're making a finale to a TV show, I believe you have 3 jobs. Firstly, you have to make an entertaining episode, as with any other episode. 2, you have to give a reason in the show's universe as to why the show is ending. And 3, you have to give your characters a satisfying ending to their arc. First, I would like to go over Parks and Recreation's ending and how they succeeded in these 3 categories. First, it is a very entertaining episode. Of all the 3 jobs I reference, this is by far the most subjective and probably also the least important. There are no right or wrong answers when it comes to if something is entertaining, but I think the Parks and Rec's finale is very entertaining. It is very funny, and it is very emotional when it wants to, and it isn't too long or too short. It knows how long it should be, and it is that length. Next, you have to give a reason in the show's universe as to why the show is ending. In Parks and Rec, the characters no longer work at the Parks Department and are moving away, far away from each other, so it makes sense that the show, or maybe a documentary. It's kind of unclear towards the end of whether or not this is a mockumentary, but whatever it was, it made sense that it would be ending. Lastly, you have to give a satisfying ending to the characters' arcs. Every single character has one. Ron has a family and is working a job he enjoys. Leslie becomes the governor of Indiana and eventually probably the president. Ben lives a happy life with Leslie and is no longer cutting budgets and moving from city to city for a job. Donna has settled down and is successful. Tom settles down with Lucy and is successful in a very suitable way for his character. Gary becomes mayor for a long time and lives a long life and is the perfect family. Andy and April have kids which complete both of their arcs. April needed to learn to be happy in a more conventional way than everything else in her life, and Andy needed to find someone and have kids who are like him and are fun-loving and kind of stupid, I guess. John Ralphio has a great scene. Councilman Jeremy Jam has a great scene. Even Shauna Malwae-Tweep and Bobby Newport have great conclusions to their characters. Everyone has a satisfying conclusion, and not to mention the great scenes with the reunion in the future. I now want to talk about the Big Bang Theory's finale. Firstly, this episode should not be only 20 minutes long. It should be like 40 minutes. I know there is an episode which aired right before it, but that is only set up for the finale. They didn't do anything too important, and they didn't end any characters' arcs, which you should be doing in the first half of your finale. But for the sake of this video, I will consider both episodes to be the finale. First, they succeeded at making an entertaining episode. It is a very funny episode. It just doesn't really work as a finale, which it is. So they succeeded at that, but they kind of failed at the other 2. The second job is to give a reason in the show's universe for why the show is ending. They don't even try to give one. No one leaves the Pasadena, and these people would remain friends after Sheldon and Amy win the Nobel Prize. They would still be socially awkward people who would have these little weird adventures, just like they had during the show, except right now they would just be a little less socially awkward, so it makes sense from a TV show standpoint to end it, but they did not explain in the show's universe why it makes sense to end this finale. They also had to give very satisfying endings to the characters' arcs. Sheldon and Leonard are great. I have no complaints there. I love Sheldon's speech, and Leonard also had a great ending, and they were both very satisfying ends to their character arcs. With Amy, I would have wanted her to be pregnant too, although we do eventually learn that Sheldon does have kids in young Sheldon, but I would have liked to have seen it in this finale. With most of the other characters, the blame isn't only on the finale, but really in the entire final season, and for some even before that. Many didn't have much going on at all in the final season, so it is hard to blame this on the finale, but I'm still going to. Penny's arc was to marry Leonard and be happy with a job she's good at and accept this new life, and a very different life than the one she had before, which was much worse. But that had already happened before the finale. Unlike Leonard, children were never part of her relationship. When they first met Penny, Leonard discussed their future children, but not Penny. Her having a baby was more icing on the cake for her character, but it wasn't a satisfying ending. Howard and Bernadette are just scared for their kids, but nothing happens with them. Raj's arc kind of ended once he could talk to women while he was sober, and nothing much else happens to him, and literally nothing of importance happens to him in the finale. And unlike Parks and Rec's finale, their side characters didn't get a satisfying ending. Stewart doesn't do much, same with Bert, Kripke, and Leslie Winkle. It seems like they didn't even try to go above and beyond for their finale, while Parks and Recreation very clearly did, and they cared about ending the show in a very satisfying way. Please comment what you thought of the Parks and Recreation finale and the Big Bang Theory's finale, and which you thought was better.